Hey, what's up? What's up? So, if I was to give this movie out of 5, I would give this a 3.5 out of 5. The movie is called Umjolo, The Gone Girl. It's from SA. It's a comedy, it's a romance, it's a drama. And I thought, no, it's not actually really bad. It's not perfect, but also it's not what I would call a perfect movie, especially from Africa. But the one thing that I respect about this show is that they were bold enough to actually show some things and not just show them for the sake of shock value, but actually just, do it tastefully. Let me just call it that way. Yes, you have some raunchy scenes, but it's not being raunchy for the sake of being raunchy. It's there to actually drive the story and add value to the narrative. But it's a Netflix show, so it has a lot of issues that I was watching, and I was going like, you know what? That could have been different if it was not a Netflix show, because you can see the Netflix DNA somewhere, especially as you jump into the third act. So let's talk about this particular movie. Number one, I particularly like the way it's shot. It's competently shot. There's a lot of good cinematography. There are a lot of beautiful shots of the countryside. There are a lot of beautiful shots of the cities. I can't specifically tell whether it's Johannesburg, Durban, or Cape Town. I can't actually really tell, but I can tell that these are really beautiful cities and they're captured very well. They're shot very well. There are some beautiful shots. The makeup team did a fantastic job. The characters look good throughout the movie. There's a consistency in a particular look. For Amanda, for example, for Letu, when she's in the city and when she's in the rural place, you can see the clear distinction. The hair, for someone like Lucky, there's a distinct look. For Themba, the outfits, they did a great job. The costume designers did a fantastic job with Bridget. She has a distinct look and it fits her personality. And all these characters, basically, the makeup, the costume designers did a fantastic job. And that plus cinematography, you get a very good looking movie. You get a very polished movie. Let me just call it that. The one thing that I liked was the color play, because the sets are very colorful. The outfits are very colorful, not always with the main characters, but if you look somewhere on the background, there's always a colorful character. And that goes to the set and the colorist. It's a very, it's what you'd expect of a rom-com, because they're usually very bright movies. They're usually very bright shows. So I like that. The quality of what you're looking at, the quality of the picture is up there. It's a very clean picture. It's a very good looking picture. The other thing is music. Music is pretty awesome. I like some songs, despite the fact that I was watching this with subtitles. I appreciated the kind of songs that were being played. The kind of songs that I've not heard. They are a mixture of different type of songs. Now, SA is a very weird place, so I wouldn't go into the music because I don't have a clear knowledge of how their music works. But I like what I was hearing based on what I was looking at, because it grounds the movie in South Africa. You understand that it's SA. Still on costumes, there are some particular scenes in the beginning that, yeah, they go full traditional. And that's why I'm saying that I actually appreciate a lot of the effort that was put in on a technical part, because you see a lot of traditional outfits and they are almost accurate. I wouldn't call them accurate, but they're almost accurate and they're pretty awesome. Now, outside now those technical aspects of the show, now when you come to the characters and the performances, this is where the meat of my review is, because I thought this was a very interesting story in general. It goes back to the urban lives of the modern millennials, Gen Zs, whatever, the modern young people of this particular universe, and basically their sex life. It's pretty interesting in the way, first of all, it's presented, the structure, it's in chapters, and then you have a narrator who is, would I call him unreliable in a way, because I don't understand why he was there, though he made for some really good comedic moments. I still don't get why he exists in this particular universe. Maybe we'll continue seeing him in the future and one day it will make sense. He was a very good comedic relief, but then, and also he was like, giving us tidbits of wisdom. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, in terms of story, following Letu. So this is a story. This story follows Letu and Lucky. Letu and Lucky are been a couple for like 3 years. They've been in love, but one day Letu discovers that she has chlamydia, and she can only have chlamydia because she's been sleeping with one person. So she figures that her boyfriend might have been doing some naughty stuff. And we learn that, yeah, he has his issues. He sleeps around with women. He cannot help himself. And the main character also has a brother called Temba. And Temba also has the same problem. He can't help himself. He lives with a lot of people. And Temba is dating Bridget. They have their own comedic issues together and whatever. And then we also learned that Lucky Letu have a third wheel, who is Amanda. Amanda works for Letu, and she's also having an affair with Lucky. So that's a love triangle that I thought was pretty interesting. And the way they were able to explore that was pretty interesting, because that is used to actually create tension that follows through up to the end, the final moment. So yeah, so we follow all these characters as they try to navigate. We follow Letu as she tries now to try to deal with this problem with Lucky, who already has proposed. She actually loves him so much. And you actually see that, because there's a moment that she's given a chance to actually do something, and she's unable to do it because she's actually committed to this person. So what did I think about this story specifically? First of all, I thought that Letu's performance, I can't remember her name. She has a very technical name. Her performance was pretty cool. I started seeing her performance at what point? At the 30th minute point, when she learns that she has this particular thing. And that totally flips her, because now she becomes suspicious, even as she goes to pick the phone when something comes in and she discovers everything about this dude that she absolutely loves. I thought that was an interesting flip. Then I like where the script took her up to her going to the rural home and trying to have conversation with the neighbors, and the neighbors are like, oh, you're lucky to have a husband, you're lucky to be this way, you're lucky to be this one. She's just like, haha. She's there like, yeah. She's there pretending to be happy within that particular moment. And then her being conflicted when she comes back and decides to do whatever she decides to do with Lucky. I like the performances of that actress. I think she did a fantastic job. I think this is a very heavy character to portray in a way, because you have to pretend, you have to flip into different characters. One, someone who's in love, someone who falls out in love, someone who is trying to move on, then back to someone who has to pretend that they're in love, and then eventually now becoming whoever she is. So I thought her performance was good. Lucky could have been better. Yeah, because I think the only time I saw Lucky come to life was when he was banging someone. and it's captured very well. Now, when he was banging Letu, that was one of the most unbelievable sex scenes I've ever seen. I did not buy that, number one, because they were not sweating. How can you have two characters have sex and they're not sweating? They're mad. They're still mad, and you're supposed to believe that they're having sex. Number two, I wish that scene when Letu and Lucky were doing their thing would have just been pushed away, and maybe use silhouettes, or just push the scene away so that you can look at them from a distance, so that they can create a better sex scene. That was poorly done. Now, when Lucky was banging everyone else, I was like, yes, now that looks realistic. That, especially with Manda, there are things that they do, and I'm like, yes, that looks kind of realistic. That's how a dude like him would have. And then when he's doing that, he's totally a different person. That's why I respect the guy who played Lucky. When he was doing those things, you would see a totally different person, like an animal. But when he flips and is in the same scene with Letu, there's a certain platoonness you see about him. He doesn't really fall into anyone else. Even when he's talking about things that are different, you don't see a different character. It's always the same character, same behavior. I don't know whether the character was written to be that way, but there's a certain sense of consistency that is not good about his character throughout when he's with Letu. Now, you can see some sense of vulnerability and sincerity when he's with Temba the brother. When they're together, there's something. I really look at them, the both of them, and I can see outside the character that we know to be the playboy and the Letu's lover, there's someone else that you see when he's with Temba. There's a sense of sincerity that I saw with those two characters that I was not seeing throughout the movie. But I thought the guy who played that actually also did a very good job, especially when he was doing whatever he was doing with the other women. Amanda was pretty interesting. I like where they were taking her, although they did not give her an arc. Amanda and Lucky were not given full arcs, because by the end of the film, they're still the same people. They did not evolve. They did not change throughout the show, through the movie. They did not evolve into something different. Letu did, because Letu becomes someone different at the end. But these two characters are still the same people, and the movie ends with them just being the same people. Amanda does not evolve. But in terms of performances, I think there are moments with Amanda that I was like, wow, that is like super pop. Apart from the banging, there were some genuine emotional moments that I was like, yeah, that's like really good performance. That's actually really good. And the actress actually pushed herself. There's a moment that she's forced to cry, and you actually see her cry, and I was like, wow, that looks genuine. She's talking to Lucky and she's trying to convince him about something. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. There are moments with her with Letu that I actually bought. They were actually friends. And the chemistry between Letu and Amanda, it's a really genuine one. You can look at the two, and outside the film, you can feel that these can be friends in the real world, because their dynamics are very interesting. They actually look like people who can be friends in the real world when they are together. And that's built on Letu, the character who plays Letu, and the actress who plays Amanda. They're able to create something that feels real. I thought their performances were really good. Themba, again, one of my favorite characters. I like his whole general arc. Again, his arc was everywhere, but I like where they took his story, especially when when the priest, oh my goodness, when the clergy visits him, and then they're praying for him, and then Bridget is behind him, she's praying for him, and is just banging him with the Bible. I thought that was pretty cool. Those are some funny moments. And I like where they took the character of Themba in terms of him evolving, because there's a moment that he has, he has the change of heart, he becomes something different, but he's not, okay, he's not, no, this one I'm not going to spoil for people, but he becomes something else, and that's not because he's doing it because he wants to do it, it's because of another reason. And that brings also, that evolves him in a very interesting way. But again, the ending brings him back to who we knew before. So I also feel that he was not given a proper arc. But Themba, the actor, I think he did some really bold stuff. He did some courageous stuff. There's a scene that is being chased by people, and I was like, did he actually do that? Actually, was he able to actually do what I'm looking at? Was he able to do some things that I saw him do? So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, Bridget is another interesting character. I thought she was pretty interesting, but again, like all the characters apart from Letu, I felt that there is more that we could have been given about her, like her motivation. Why does she always need to be with Themba? What is it about her and Themba? What is so special about them? Yes, I know the neighborhood and pretending to put up a good picture about their relationship, but why him specifically? What makes him special? Because it's established between Letu and Lucky. Lucky complements Letu in terms of his professional work. He has some really crazy ideas that help Letu shine in her professional space. So that we know about Letu and Lucky. But what do we know about Themba and Bridget? But I thought her character with Themba, every time you put them together, you create a very interesting dynamic. And I'll expand on that later on. I think there's potential for something else. Anyway, now the narrator, I really did not understand why he was there, so I can't really say anything about, apart from the comedic relief. I like that he was there to actually just shake things a bit, and maybe now tap into the viewer, connect directly into the viewer, break the fourth wall, and make us as the audience feel like we are a part of this particular universe. I think that's what the director wanted the narrator to do, to connect us into this story and try to make the story feel relevant and feel like something that we're all familiar with. I think that's why he's there. But I kind of like what they were able to do with the actor who plays that particular role, because it's very comedic. There are moments that he's cleverly placed into a scene. Like there's one, he's in the background cooking something, and then the actress Letu leaves, and then we go into the camera, and then he turns around. And yeah, those moments, I was like, yeah, I like that. Generally, there's a good sense of direction. It's like the director knew exactly where to take the story, and they knew how to pace the story well enough to keep you invested. So that's something that I appreciated also from the film. Now, in terms of editing, though it's good, though it works, I would still insist that, again, context. Go check out Big Girl Small World from Kenya. Look at how it's edited. You kind of see a difference because it's far more punchy. It's far more. It captures the energy and the pacing that you'd expect from an urban or a story around urban young people. So that was the only thing that I could have maybe complained about the editing. But generally, it's edited well. But again, if you watch Big Girl Small World, you see how it's, because they're almost the same. They almost tackle the same theme, and they almost target the same demographic. And if you were to look at how both movies are edited, you'll see a small difference. Now, what did I not like about this particular show? Number one was the script, was the writing. I wouldn't call it bad, but the writing feels a bit flat. You know, it's the classic. Yes, the actors, and this is why I'm saying the actors did a fantastic job, because the actors were able to bring those words to life, and the actors were able to actually give more with the script that they were given, and they actually than was possible with the script in itself. Because the script, it still feels, you know, I usually like to look at scripts in terms of, if you were to give everybody the same voice, would you be able to distinguish the characters based on how they construct their sentences? Because personalities construct sentences differently, totally differently. There are people who like inserting mother tongues. There are people who like inserting English. There are people who like speaking English throughout. There are people who kind of stammer. There are people who remove particular words. There are people who always repeat particular words in their sentences. So you don't feel the difference. You feel this is a very safe script. It's a very clean, safe script, which is against what they actually present, because this is a very bold movie. This is a very bold depiction of this particular story. So I didn't see that difference in the script. For context, you guys can watch Big Girl Small World from Kenya. It's a very well written show. You can actually see how punchy the script is, how natural the script feels. It feels realistic. It feels like you're talking to someone that you can meet in the street, not someone who was written to sound like someone on the streets. The other thing was the pacing and editing, especially the second and third act. That could have been better, because I thought it reached a point. I thought it reached a point whereby everything started going round, especially now when she discovers, when she's given that statement that, you know, all men cheat by her grandma, that all men are not perfect, and she has to go back, and then they have to arrange this thing with Lucky. I thought the script kind of meandered, the story kind of meandered. It was everywhere, but not really coming to a conclusion until it comes to a conclusion. I thought they wasted a lot of time. There are things that happened that I thought that could have happened 30 minutes ago, you know, and there was an opportunity to take that story in a very interesting way. Because again, this is not I don't think this is a Leto story. I think this is a Mayu. Are they called German? Are they called Jama family? The Jama family, Mayu is getting married, because that's the stake. Leto cannot mess up this wedding that she's preparing for Mai. And you have a moment at the end where she's having a conversation with Mai, and that conversation with Mai makes Leto click. And I thought the Mai scenario could have been better used to create a far more interesting third act than what we were given, because I feel that the story in the second and third act meandered a lot. It was kind of lost. And that's why I gave it a 3.5. It did not know where it wanted to go, because it was, you know, one time she's doing this, the other time Alaki is doing everything we expected him to do, and then by the end he does that one thing that we all thought he was going to do. I wish he would have done something better with his arc. I wish they would have done something better with Amanda's arc, you know, to complement or to go with Leto's arc, which also evolves. So I thought that my biggest problem was the script and the story, especially the second and third act, because it just felt off. It kind of plateaued. The tension after something is unveiled died, and we had to rely on the idea of her not finding out that Amanda was dating Lucky. So basically, that's my review. I wish this was a show, yeah, because I would want to see Temba and Lucky's relationship. Where did he start? I would like to know why Lucky is the way he is. What happened to him? Why did he become that way? I would like to see why Leto and Amanda became friends apart from work. Why did it all begin? Why is Leto so committed to one person? I would like to know Themba and Bridget. What happened? Why is Bridget so obsessed with her? Why is Bridget so obsessed with him? So those are some of the questions that I was left with, and I would hope, because there's a new movie coming still from the same group, Umjolo. There's a new movie coming out on December 20th. I would hope that will expand on that. And also Mai. What's up with Mai? Are we going to see more of her? So yeah, so basically that's my review. Sorry that it was so long. Remember to always watch what you enjoy and enjoy what you watch. As I said, 3.5. It's pretty enjoyable. It's very raunchy. Teenage boys will have a lot of fun with the opening, but basically that's it. Remember to always watch what you enjoy and enjoy what you watch. I shall see you on the next one. Adios.